Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Patholkas, and this is Happy Season 2, Episode 6, Pervapalooza. Yeah, interesting episode again. Um, oh, I guess I should probably do this before I start anything. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the crap out of this episode. So if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Come on back here. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. So, thank you, Viking Bitch. I know you couldn't make it and haven't seen the episode, but you're missing out. This is actually a good one. This is probably second best to the geriatric Nazi geezers in the old folks' home fight, I would say. So we have Meredith walking around the studio in the wishy costume still, and she sees the exact same wishy across the hall, and they run at each other and start fighting. I mean, just literally start fighting. And we see, we do a little x-ray of her suit, and we see her reaching for her gun behind her, out of her waistband. She drops it down the leg of the wishy costume. And then so she reaches down, she kind of has it in her foot, but she lifts up her foot and shoots through the foot of the wishy costume. And then we hear Nick's voice come out of the other wishy costume, because of course he's the one that got shot. And we go into a sudden CSI montage of explaining all the physics behind how she just missed Nick's ass with that gunshot, with the bullet. And it's actually pretty damn funny considering what Nick had been in before, or I should say Christopher Maloney had been in. It's basically a callback to his detective days. Yeah, that is a hair trigger, exactly, because it just took off a hair off of his ass, right between the cheeks. Yeah. And we find out that Nick has the body of the dead wishy, the one he was spooning with, and he's got it in the meat locker. And so he brings Meredith over to it, and they're gonna cut it open, is what they're gonna do, and see what's inside of it. Because as he says, I don't know what the hell's inside this thing, but Dougie, had some notions to it. Dayglow Doug, and she tells, oh, Dayglow Doug's dead. And he goes, oh, that's too bad, and he starts making jokes, and she's like, no, it's not good. She also tells him that she has another tape for the studio executive who is going to be doing a Sunny Shine's Easter show. And he goes, I don't want to watch any more of those freaky sex tapes, and she goes, yeah, but we can use this as leverage, and we can actually use this to arrest Sunny Shine at this point too. In the meantime, Amanda, who had gone to see Sunny Shine at the studio, gets taken to this weird cell. It's got Dayglow colors and all this kind of stuff, and she gets put in there by the guards, and she's screaming for Sunny Shine. She goes, I just want to see Sunny Shine. And Sunny shows up, and he knows exactly who she is, and he says, were you in here? Did you steal my, the thing that I wanted? He goes, I had some witnesses that saw two people that stole something that's very, very important to me. And I don't think it's just a coincidence that you're here at the same time. And she asks him what he did to her, because she can't remember what she did, what happened to her in Sunny Shine's tower that night that she was there. And he kind of points behind her, and there's three of the wishies behind her kind of going towards her, and they stop. And he kind of looks through the bars there, and he starts talking to them telepathically. He's like, oh, really? Okay. And so he tells her, he goes, there is something special about you. You're pregnant. And so she got pregnant during the Sunny Shine Tower incident over Christmas by one of the wishies, more than likely. We don't know for sure. So kind of disgusting. And he lets her go and gives her a vial of some liquid that says, this will fill the void that you have inside of you. And when you need more, just come on back, is what he tells her. And she takes off because, of course, she's wigged out by the wishies. It's just, bringing back really bad memories to her. In the meantime, Nick and Meredith have hung up the wishy body on a meat hook and are going to cut it open. And Nick's got the saw, And she's like, where do we start? He goes, I wish I had an asshole or some kind of hole to kind of use as reference. He goes, I'm just going to start here at the top. And so he turns on the blade, and just as he touches it, the thing goes nuts and starts twitching all over the place, knocks down Meredith, um, gets off the hook and just runs down the hallway. And they go chasing after it, and they find Dick. Dick is actually there too, and he's been knocked down by the wishy as it took off. And they're like, what the hell are you doing here? And he goes, I got taken in to see the bug, is what he says. And he says, the bug is looking for you. He says he wants to know about this cabbie. And so he starts relating this whole story. And I start having flashbacks actually to Luis from Ant-Man doing this long drawn out story, because they're doing flashbacks and everything, which I'm fairly sure that's what they were trying to copy a little bit, and not as good as they did in Ant-Man. And he basically tells him that, the bug is going after him, and the bug is really nasty business, that he, had seen the bug one other time, and that was at Sunny Shine's party that happened in the tower. Of course, the same one that Amanda was at during Christmas. And that there's going to be another party that's happening tonight. So Amanda calls up Nick, and she's all freaked out and says that, Nick has to take Haley tonight. And he's trying to, of course, avoid it. He's like, I've got something. She goes, don't you dare do this to me. Take Haley. It's, she's your responsibility tonight. And that's the end of it. And Nick comes back, and he tells, Dick that he's going to go to this party. And Dick says, well, you're going to need a costume, is what we hear at this point. In the meantime, excuse me, Blue / Horgus, actually Horgus is writing Blue at this point, gets led into the warden's office, and the warden is talking to him about hockey. And Horgus, of course, being centuries or probably older, says that talks about another sport that was only played once a year, and how hockey is, as he puts it, is about as quaint as foxy boxing, which he holds in high regard. Not the hockey, but the foxy boxing. And the warden gets pissed off at this point and says, you know what? He goes, I see what you're doing out there. You've got the Aryans, you've got, the Muslims, all these guys, they're all listening to you, and they're not fighting amongst each other. You know what happens when they don't fight amongst each other? They fight with the guards. He goes, you're going to stop what you're doing now? He goes, otherwise I'm going to take that hockey stick and shove it up your ass. And do you get me? And Horgus says, yeah, I understand. And leaves it at that, which is kind of weird for Horgus at that point. Happy, in the meantime, takes Bo Peep to Nick's place. I missed that too, is that Bo Peep had actually tied a cherry stem in a very interesting thing. And basically, Happy doesn't have any kind of tricks like that he can do with his tongue, other than put it on top of his nose. And she basically wants to do something crazy. So they end up going back to Nick's place, and he tells her about jumping friends, that he was Haley's friend and now he's Nick's friend. And she goes, wait a minute. She goes, usually when we're done, when the friend's done with you, you disappear. She goes, you're telling me you didn't disappear? Excuse me there. I'm trying to hold down a page here and also drink a little bit of water. And she says, that's kind of weird. We don't jump friends. She goes, well, does that mean that we're something more than just imaginary? And he's, of course, Happy is in his despair, I guess you can say. And he says, no, we're really just imaginary kind of thing. And then Bo Peep says, you know what? You're bringing down the vibe. She goes, what happened to the Happy that rallied all the imaginary friends against Very Bad Santa? She goes, that was the one that made my panties wet, so wet you could wring them out, as she says. And he goes, yeah, you're right, I did do that. And then she asks him if he's ever done it. And he's like, yeah, I've done it. Of course he hasn't. And she goes, oh, honey. She goes, just let me take control of this. That's what she tells him. And so we go back to Nick, and Nick's got Haley. He's taking her out for breakfast, and he's apologizing to her for missing her birthday, because, of course, it was their very first birthday together, her birthday together. And he she accepts it and says, well, you know what? There's still a 24-hour grace period. She goes, so we could do something today. And he's like, oh, no, I can't. I've got something really important to do. I can't do this today. And in the meantime, just as he says that, her birthday Sunday comes over from the crappy diner that they're in. And of course, the happy birthday song has an ad in it for whatever cake they have that they're trying to sell. And Haley gets up in the middle of it and just walks over. She walks to the bathroom. She says she has to go to the bathroom. So the waiters and waitresses leave. And who pops into the booth but Smoothie? Yeah, that's the first time that Nick knows that Smoothie is alive still, and he's pretty pissed. But he's also happy that Smoothie is alive because he wants to kill Smoothie himself at this point. And in Smoothie, he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna kill me. Okay, I get it. Yeah." And Smoothie tells him that you can't do anything now. He goes, "You're a daddy." He goes, that alcohol and the drugs and everything made you kind of invulnerable. He goes, now without him, he goes, you can't do anything at all. And he says, you need to be a good little daddy so that, you don't traumatize Haley even further. And you can't do anything here. You can't kill me because otherwise Haley's going to see you get dragged away in handcuffs. And then Smoothie says he has no intention of harming Haley. He just wants to really fuck up Nick's life at this point. That's his only mission right now, is just to fuck up Nick's life. And he says, you know what? She's taking an awfully long time in the bathroom, don't you think? Maybe you should check on her. And that's when Nick gets up and bolts over to the bathroom, opens it up, and she's just washing her hands. And she gets, of course, scared because, of course, he jumps into the bathroom there. And when they come back, Smoothie's gone, but he's left a little smiley face on the table made out of mustard. And he tells her, you know what? We're going to Grandma's. And Haley says, but Grandma's dead. She goes, no, not that Grandma. Your other Grandma. And that's when we get introduced to Grandma Sachs, who is actually Christopher Maloney in drag. Yeah. So both his mom and Haley are pissed at Nick because neither one has been told about, each other at this point. Yeah, Joker. It is really Nick, Chris Maloney in drag, and it's really it's something special. That's all I can say. And she's just busting his balls. He actually does a really good job, I have to admit. And you could, you can almost buy that that's his mom, and especially Nick's mom at this point. Oh, yeah. And Haley, he basically asks his mom if Haley can stay with her and basically get some bonding time in. He goes, you know how it is. I attract a lot of bad people, a lot of bad attention. He goes, I need to take care of something. Then he tells Haley, he goes, you need to stay with my mom. He goes, because I need to do something in order to keep you safe. And she's like, yeah, sure, whatever. See ya. So she's checked out on him at this point. Bo Peep, in the meantime, is doing a little striptease on the pizza box for Happy there. And he goes, these things come off, because she's taking off stuff. And she goes, oh, yeah, that's not the only thing that comes off. And she starts doing her striptease. And just as she gets near the end, and she's doing it to the 80s song Touch Me, by the way, which I thought was kind of funny. And we see Happy's horn grow. I mean, just grow really big. And she goes, does that thing taste like banana? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, she goes, have you ever tasted your own horn before? He goes, I'm not built that way. He goes, and if I was, he goes, I'd probably never leave the house because I really like the way bananas taste. Oh my God. I mean, just wrong on so many levels. And just before she's about to reveal everything, there we cut to a commercial. And we see Haley telling her grandma how she first met Nick, him shooting very bad Santa between the eyes. And then grandma tells her about the Sachs, basically the Sachs lineage, how it came about and how it's Scandinavian. And the coat of arms are about two little gnomes that are crossing swords under a blanket kind of thing. And just all kinds of weird stuff. And that we're good fighters and all this kind of stuff. And Haley says, I wish I was a good fighter. I'm too small. She goes, that's when you need to fight dirty. And of course, Haley's mixing her moonshine too. She's making a moonshine cocktail for grandma at this point. And grandma likes it. It's a really good moonshine cocktail that she's got there. Amanda, in the meantime, has gone to a women's health clinic and finds out definitively that she's pregnant. And Julie, the nurse, says, oh, it's going to be a joyous time. She goes, and if, when the baby comes to term, if you don't want it, we can always put it up for adoption. And uh, Amanda asks, so what about any other options? And she goes, oh, what do you mean? There are no other options. She goes, you don't want to do an abortion. She goes, that leaves baby parts inside of you. And she starts doing all these horror stories and how it's God's creature. And she goes, wait a minute, what kind of clinic is this? What kind of women's clinic is this? And of course, Julie goes off on some more religious ranting stuff. And she basically tells Julie to go fuck herself. She does. Actually, she says that completely. She goes, go fuck yourself, Julie. She goes outside, and that little vial that Sunny had given her, she downs. And we see her start having flashbacks of stuff that was happening in Sunnyshine's tower. So she's getting more and more of her memory back at this point. Haley, in the meantime, gets a text, and Grandma's passed out from the moonshine, and Haley's taken off. Nick busts in on Meredith's place there. Meredith is actually watching the tape of the TV exec, seeing him eat a person alive, essentially. And going, oh my God, what the fuck is this? When Nick busts in and tells her she's a terrible shot, that Smoothie's still alive, and that Sunny is still all wrapped up in this, and that he needs to go and kill Sunny at this point. She's like, no, 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 no. She goes, I've got this tape. She goes, we're piecing all the evidence together now. We can actually put him away for a long time. And Nick really doesn't want that at this point. He says, you know what? He knew all this time who I was, the life I was in, all of this stuff. I was a sitting duck. And he says he could have taken me out at any time. So either he doesn't care or he just didn't think I was worth it. And he's kind of pissed about that, quite honestly, and wants to do something about it. So we see Haley at the mall getting her ears pierced, and who's with her, of course, but Smoothie. And they're watching all the little girls going up to the Easter Bunny and getting their pictures taken with the Easter Bunny at the mall and everything. And she's like, I'm not like those girls anymore, am I? And he's like, no, you're not. He goes, you had your innocence lost that day, and there's no way of getting it back. He goes, but what you can do now is you can see the truth. You can see the truth with just a look. And she looks over at the guy who is the Easter Bunny and sees a lecherous old creep who's just kind of like staring back at her. Yeah, kind of creepy at this point. But she can't see what, Smoothie for what he is, which is kind of weird, And then we cut over to Bo Peep riding Happy's horn. Yes, riding Happy's horn. You heard that right. And she's like, why is it buzzing? And he goes, I don't know. And they're kind of spinning around and around and around. And finally his horn explodes. Yes, with rainbow goo. And it goes everywhere. And it's sticky rainbow goo. And she's like, oh, wow, that was something different. Yeah, so there you go. You got imaginary friend sex on TV with rainbow goo. I'm not going to say what it is, but you know what it is. Yes, it was the money shot. Exactly, Robert. Oh, man. So Blue and Horgus, shall we say, is being led back to his cell, and he's singing as he's being led back to his cell. And he tells the two guards, he goes, maybe you'll live to see the morning, the glorious morning. Maybe not. We don't know what's in store for us, that kind of thing. And Pink all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, knocks out both guards, grabs Blue. He knocks Blue down, and actually Horgus leaves, and Blue takes over again. And Blue's kind of disoriented. And Pink grabs him, shoves him down some stairs, and they go down this little hallway and everything, and they pop out on the roof. and Blue knows that Pink is going to kill him at this point, and says that he's scared. And Pink tells him that he loves him, and then grabs Blue, and he jumps with both of them in their arms off the roof, and we see them going down, screaming all the way down. And then we cut to Happy and Bo Peep smoking a cigarette, and him laying in bed, and him asking her if she wants to stay the night, of course. And she goes, "Well, won't your friend get weirded out by that?" And he goes, "I don't care." And she goes, "Well, won't he miss you?" And she goes, "Nah, he's probably doing something boring." And we cut over to Nick in a all black leather pig costume, pig or armadillo, I can't really tell, from head to toe in black, walking into Sunny Shine's party, which is similar people attired in a similar way, all black costumes of animals. And he's got a gun in his hand, and the bug is there. The bug is dancing, and he's going to kill the bug. But who pops up all of a sudden dressed in a white dress but Amanda? And Amanda's dancing there, and he says, "Amanda?" And she recognizes his voice and says, "Nick," and she hugs him. And that's when we cut to the credits, and that's where we end. So yeah, very, very crazy episode. Yes, Morks, it does give new meaning to the phrase "taste the rainbow." Yeah. So what was it? Here we go. Okay. Yeah, Robert M. They've actually been doing Easter references here and there. I don't think the holiday is really not the important thing. Excuse me about this. It's actually the overall plot. So I'm glad they moved away from the PTSD stuff, and they're actually getting back to the plot of what Sunny Shine is doing, and the bug. They've actually gotten back to the bug as well. So Robert M says the cosplay for the show will get you arrested. Not really. I mean, it's all head to toe stuff. There's no flesh involved on that one. Unless you're going to go with Scooter's costume. Scooter's costume will get you arrested. Yeah. So, but yeah, not a bad episode. Like I said, it was probably as good as the Nazi old folks home that we had a couple weeks back. Even though there wasn't as much action in this one, and the weird wishy, which looked a lot like Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants. That was the most disturbing thing. Is it looks like a live action Patrick, but like 7 feet tall, 6-7 feet tall, which is very disturbing, and with no eyes and no mouth, running down the hall. Yeah. So if you like what you see here, you can hit the subscribe button. You can also hit the like button. You can also hit the dislike button too if you don't like what you see. But I ask, if you hit the dislike button, go down in the comment section. Tell me what it is you don't like. Give me some constructive criticism. Don't just hit the dislike button and walk away, because I mean, come on. Also, you can hit the bell to see when I'm going to be on live next. You can also go into the bell settings and see how much or how little of me you want to get. Let's see what else. Oh, if you've already clicked the bell, don't click it again, because it will unclick it. My schedule is up on suspendedfanimation.com. It's also up on my Facebook page, and I have a Twitter, and I have an Instagram as well. And I just signed up for a Patreon, so I am going to put that out fairly soon. I'm just working on the details of that one right now. Tomorrow night is going to be iZombie. The final season of iZombie starts tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can catch an East Coast feed. I probably won't be able to, which means I'll have to watch the 8 o'clock version of it here on the West Coast, which means it'll be 9 o'clock my time, which will be a little too late for those of you on the East Coast. But you can always watch the video either way. Fridays, of course, is going to be Doom Patrol. Saturdays would normally be Saturday morning blast off, but this Saturday, a couple things coincide. We have Free Comic Book Day and also May the 4th. So I'm going to Free Comic Book Day here in San Diego. It's a actual big deal that's going on. There's a couple thousand people that show up to this place that I go to, and it's a lot of fun and all that stuff. And I got to go early. So that is the reason why I'm not doing Saturday morning blast off this week. Yes, I know, sad. But of course, Sunday, I'm going to be doing Game of Thrones. That's right, Game of Thrones is back. And Monday is The Tick, the big blue guy right there. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the evening since it looks like I've only got a couple people. I want to thank the people that were in the chat here: Robert M., Morks, and Joe Greer III. I know that Viking Bitch and Penn came in earlier too. So thank you very much. Sunday also starts with S. Yes, that's true. SBO. That is right, Morks. That is right. Yeah, and I know a lot of people had problems with this last Game of Thrones, but I didn't. I actually liked it, so I'm okay with it. People just need to lighten up and just realize that it's a TV show, damn it. Yeah, if it was badly written or anything like that, I mean, sure, there's a couple little hokey things here and there, but sleight of hand. But they're rushing through things. They're trying to get it done at this point and tie up all the loose ends before they go into the big battles. So, with that said, and one more thing before I go. If you're still on the fence, you can take a look at the videos. There'll be video up here, plucked from my video library of things that interest you, possibly. If you like what you see there, then you can subscribe with a little subscribe button right there. And with that said, now I really am going to go. It's like a Minnesota goodbye. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up getting hit by a wishy that's running through a meat locker and knocking you out. Good night, everybody.